Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the League Racing Nations Cup. Here for day number 3. We're here in the best of the rest Group A race at Bahrain, and then we'll be travelling to Hungary. And today, very big day, because out of all the teams competing here tonight, we will be losing 8 teams by the end of the night, and 2 of them will be exiting after the conclusion of the next 2 races here. And of course, in the other race as well, for Group B, there'll be 2 departing at the end of Group B. And of course, in the knockout race, which I believe is going on also right now, 4 teams will be exiting that particular group, so we'll be losing 8 teams by the end of the night. And of course, looking at the teams that we got in here for tonight, we have France 2, who managed to get through last week with just 2 drivers available to them. And I believe once again they only have 2 drivers available to them, being Maxro and Plix. And of course, after a bit of a disappointing race last time out for the other 2 teams of Best of the World and Poland 2, they join the Welsh team once again after the opening round of events. And I believe Wales, the only team here with a full group of teams. So we'll go on board with the man currently at the front in qualifying here, with Tomato representing the Welsh contingent here tonight as we go into turn 4, waiting for the first sector splits to come through. It would help if I had the lap delta open, wouldn't it? That would help out drastically. Of course, 25% race, no chance of rain, as it will remain clear as we go down into the tricky turn 9 and 10. Very easy to lock up and run wide there. DRS wide open now on the run down to 11. Got to maximise your entry, get as wide as possible to open up the corner and climb up the hill. And now turn 12 is very easy to lose the car on that inside curb, but Tomato doing well to avoid that, and through 13 on the back straight now on the run down to the final 2 corners at 14, and there's this little right hand kink of 15, and to the line we will go. And it is a good start from the Welsh lads, as it is a 1-2 for Wales here going into the opening race. And it says Tomato second, so maybe Nino was able to pip him on the line, and he does. So little Romanino on pole position for the Welsh teams, ahead of Tomato in second. Then we got Pina for Poland in third. Only 3 of the Polish lads here tonight, unfortunately. Alp in 4th, just as in 5th. Lucas in 6th. Maxro and Plix, the French duo, in 7th and 8th. Savage in 9th. Then we got Colin and Hooky 10th and 11th. And Ash Best, unable to get a lap on the board, unfortunately invalidates and ends up disqualifying himself from the qualifying session. And we look at looking at the people that we have, we only have 3 here from the Best of the World. We have 3 from Poland and 2 from France. So you gotta think odds-on favourite is going to be Wales, because we got the full 4-man team. So as long as everyone in the Welsh team can make the checker flag, that's going to be a good heap of extra points that they can get over the other team. So Wales looking like they could be a favourites to go through. And now I also want to say that the way that this is going to work, the team that finishes first here tonight will be promoted to the Champions Final next week. The team that finishes second here tonight will go on to the Best of the Rest final next week. And of course, as previously mentioned, 3rd and 4th will be eliminated from the competition. So we will be losing the bottom two teams here tonight as we await for the formation lap. It is an all Welsh front row. Little Romanino getting ahead of Tomato, and then of course in 10th and 11th we have Colin and Hooky. That is the Welsh teams. And of course when we look at the rest of the world, we got Alp there in 4th, just as in 5th. Ash Best unfortunately disqualifying himself from the session, so he will be starting in 12th at the back. Then for the Poland 2 team, Pina there up in 3rd with Lucas in 6th and Savage in 9th place. And then of course last but not least we have the French duo here tonight. Remember, they got through last week with just these two drivers of Maxro and Plix, both getting 1-2 finishes at both races, so they'll be looking to look for a repeat performance here tonight, and we'll see how it goes. 14 laps of the Bahrain International Circuit awaits these guys here in the deserts of Shakir, and we will see who is going to come out on top. Tyre wear usually an issue around this track, but in a 25%, I mean, we'll have to see. It's very easy one stop soft to the mediums, as it is in all 25% races, but how much are they going to take out of those softs early on? That is going to be the question. Only 12 drivers here today out of a possible 16, as Hooky and Colin, I believe, has just made contact with each other, both getting disqualified from the formation lap, which is not good for the two Welsh lads as we get ourselves prepared to go racing here in Bahrain. And Pina there has just left the he's left the session. I'm going to see if I can quickly. Can I send him an invite real quick? I mean, we'll wait to see what happens at the start. But if someone can invite him, make sure he has a backup invite, please. As we go to the 5 red lights. Lights are out and we are underway here for the opening race of the evening, just as, and Alp obviously getting through there. So we're 3 wide into turn 1 with Maxro, Lucas, and I believe that is, yeah, that was Alp. Lucas coming under pressure now from Plix on the run down now into turn 4. Is Plix going to be able to hold it around the outside? And a nice little switch back up ahead there from Maxro on Alp, and he gets himself alongside as they go into the infamous little S section there. Scenes of where, oh, there's a bit of contact there, and oh my god, contact there between Maxro and Alp, and I believe it was Plix who came out the worst off there, as the two of them side by side making contact. Any wing damage on any of these cars up ahead? That's going to be the question now, as we wait to see if we can see any wing damage. Doesn't look like it, so looks like they've got away without damage there. But I believe, oh, is Pina back in his car? Yes, he is. Right, that's good. That's good. The Polish man is back in his car, and that is fantastic to see. We do not want to see Poland lose points drastically because of a disconnect or lagging out of the session. But the top 3 actually already broken that 1 second window, as Ash Best there, yes, he's getting alongside Lucas, and Lucas is going to try and hold it around the outside. I know the graphics are a little bit messed right now, but I promise you this game is esports ready, apparently. But we'll see how it unfolds. I believe Lucas has got the move done there on Ash Best. Ash Best, of course, on the medium compound tyre. He is the leader medium compound tyre, as we've got Plix into the pits for a tyre change, and I believe he also picked up wing damage there, as Hooky and Pina there doing battle for it is P10 they're doing battle for, as Plix will will cross. Oh, Hooky there with the first 3-second time penalty of the session. Plix will go down to the bottom now once he crosses the sector split, and there we go, down to last there for Plix. As it looks like he's oh no, he's around. What? How has Plix done that? How has Plix done such a thing? I have no idea how he has managed to do that. Is that wing damage from him as well? Yes, that is heavy front wing damage for the man from Poland. As Maxwell has done a good job, he's managed to get himself back within DRS of Just As, and that is crucial. But look at the ERS usage there of the guys up ahead, and Alp there just dipping outside of DRS. He's going to need to find an extra 2/10, otherwise he'll be under pressure from Savage right now in 6th place. Lucas there in 7th, holding off the medium runner of Ash Best, who is right behind him. Colin trying to keep with this battle, the battle for P7, as Pina there starts to extend the gap to Hooky in P10 and 11. And Plix once again into the pits. I just want to say this to Plix, if he does have the stream on in the background, do not give up, mate. Every point matters. Even if it is a horrible race, do not retire. Every point does indeed matter. As little Romanino there, big lockup into the final corners, as there we go, Tomato is into the pit lane, so he is opting for an early pit stop, as Alp will follow him in as well. Lucas stays out, Colin stays out, Pina stays out, so only 2 runners into the pits right now, so we'll see how they get on, as Maxo has lost DRS to Just As up ahead, and of course little Romanino and Just As now our race leaders, and with the amount of VRS they have at their disposal, they should be able to pull away a decent amount. But the undercut from Tomato and Alp will be pretty dangerous for them, so it is something that they will have to think about, as Ash Best is all over the back of Lucas for P5. So Ash Best with DRS, he is closing in, but he's not going to be close enough this time around. Maybe a run into turn 1, unless he comes into the pits at the end of this lap. Speaking of the pits, I have a feeling it's going to be pretty hectic, as we saw little Romanino there running a bit wide, and Just As a little bit of a weave perhaps, and into the pits will go little Romanino. Just As continues on, Savage into the pits, Lucas into the pits, Ash Best will continue on as expected, as will Colin, and Hooky obviously going long in this race on the mediums. He'll definitely be continuing on, but let's see how good this undercut is from Tomato, as he will go past them all now. And there's little Romanino there, and it looks like they just maintain positionless. In fact, Alp has actually, I believe, no, Alp has lost a bit of time there to Maxro. I believe the gap was a little bit closer than that, so it looks like Alp there has lost a bit of time to the Frenchman up ahead. As Plix, who is a lap down, of course, once everyone has made their pit stops, he will be on the lead lap again. But I will say this for Plix, it is not over until it is over. As Colin doing well, keeping with Ash Best. He does have Pina right behind him though, putting him under pressure. However, I do expect these guys to be into the pits at the end of this lap, and just as now into the pit lane, expecting Colin and Pina to both follow suit. In fact, Ashbest is in as well, and that's a no. Oh no, Pina there. That is a bad mistake there from Pina, just going straight into the back of Colin. He gets a drive-through penalty, and in my opinion, rightfully so. And just as he been able to make the overcut work, looks like no, just as has lost a decent amount of time to the cars up ahead. He was a lot closer to little Romanino than this, and Maxro is closer to just as than what he was before they came into the pits. So Maxro, they're going to be putting just as under pressure. Little Romanino and Tomato now in a net 1-2, and Hooky right now continuing on is the race leader. And interestingly enough, Savage on a set of the hard compound tyres. Savage on the hards, Ashbest on the softs. We're on lap 6 of 14. Surely the hards are just not going to have the grip to compete for the rest of this race, and Ashbest, you got to think his tyres will be, they'll be approaching the drop-off point by the end of this race, but we'll have to see how he gets on. Unfortunately for Pina there, he does have a drive-through penalty to his name, so maybe Plix will have an opportunity to close up a decent amount here, as expecting Pina now to come into the pits to serve that drive-through penalty, and yet into the pits he'll go. And he gets a 5-second speed in. Oh, he's retired in the pits. No, Pina, you don't want to be doing that. Every point matters. And of course, for the Polish team coming into this race, they were already on the back foot with minus 15 points due to incidents in the previous race. They were penalised and they have minus 15 points, but this has just really hindered Poland even further, as Ashbest gets the move done on Lucas. And Ashbest now looking for a run on Savage. This is heartbreaking for the Polish team. As Ashbest, oh, look at the grip advantage Ash has. It is the softs versus the hards, and there's no competition here whatsoever. As it looks like Nino, Tomato and Just As they're pulling away, as the Welsh duo up the front trading positions, as Ashbest gets through, and I believe Just As they're side by side with Tomato. Oh, forced off the track, I believe there. Big old squeeze from Tomato, running Just As a bit wide there. Obviously I wasn't on board for the whole thing, I just caught as Just As was in the gravel. But I have a feeling that a little bit elbows out to the fullest there from Tomato on Just As there. As Alba again a bit of a snap, and that's not what you like to see. As Maxwell now closes up, he's in the train, he's in DRS range of Just As, and now this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because we got 4 cars battling, fighting tooth and nail for the race lead, and the man who is doing the best on his ERS at the moment is the man leading the race, little Romanino, and you can see he's got Hooky just up the road. Hooky is the race leader at this moment in time, but he will be making the pit stop. Question is when, and will he be holding up his Welsh teammates? No, he doesn't. He comes straight into the pits. So Hooky now into the pit lane. And Ashbest with the new fastest lap of the race on those soft tyres, and It was to be expected, as Ash Best doing his absolute best to really close up here. No pun intended, but it is a pun that I think is looking pretty decent, as we're on lap 9 of 14, just 5 more laps to go after this lap is over. It is little Romanino in the lead for Wales, with Tomato in second place, right behind him. It is a Welsh 1-2, just as for the best of the world in third place. Maxro for France in fourth. Alp in fifth for the best rest of the world, and Ash in sixth for the rest of the world. And of course we got Lucas and Savage 7th and 8th for the Poland team. 9th and 10th is also a Welsh duo of Colin R. Mason and Hooky. And then we got Plix, who unfortunately had the incident early on, and he is almost a lap down. He's on the same straight as a race leader, but Plix is down in 11th place for the French team. As we're going to stick on board with, actually we'll go on board with, Savage isn't going to make a move on Lucas. We'll stay on board with this battle, the battle for the top 4. Just as Tomato, Nino, Maxro, who is going to come out on top here? As we are on lap 10 of 14, it is a Welsh 1-2 as it currently stands. It is the rest of the world, just as, who is in that podium position. Maxro for France, after the horror story of his teammate early in the race. Maxro is definitely hoping he can get himself up onto that podium to bring home some good points for the French team. As we got Ash Best on those sauce, how long are they going to last? That is going to be the main question in terms of Ash Best. Is he going to be able to keep up this pace all the way to the end? He has his best rest of the world teammate ahead of him, and we'll see if he can get the job done on him. Unfortunately, with a couple of teams missing out on a few drivers, France missing out on 2 drivers in their team, and as we got just as going around the outside of Tomato, bit of contact there, and Tomato holding it for the time being. Oh, the little teamwork from the Welsh lads there, giving the slipstream, Nino giving the slipstream there to Tomato, as a little bit more contact between the two of them, and just as it runs off a little wide on the exit, and he's gonna try, oh no, like I think just as, yeah, he's landing back through. Yeah, that as Tomato picks up a 3-second time penalty. Is that wing damage for Tomato, or is it just his, yeah, massive wing damage? His front right end plate is completely gone, and just as also with wing damage. But Ash Best now up into third place, Maxro in second, Nino leading the race, but that is yeah, there's not much I can say about that. I understand what Just As was trying to do. He felt he was being held up. He tried to switch suddenly to the inside, but you have to make sure that you have the space to really do that, and he just makes contact there with Tomato, and pretty much takes Tomato out of effective podium position here, and drops him all the way down to the tail end of the top 10. And Just As going to continue on with that wing damage. He is going to be, I think he'll be definitely dropping down the order, as Lucas and Savage should be able to get ahead here. wing damage of Just As really really just not helping him here. And I think you know, regardless of what happens, wherever the rest of the world finish, I feel like that may be a heavy penalty coming Just As's way if they continue on in this tournament. But Lucas and Savage now really trying to get themselves up the order to the best of their ability, because obviously Pina out of the race. Every point matters for these two lads. And right now at the top, instead of a lovely four-way battle we have brewing, there's a gap of 1.6 seconds between Maxwell and Nino. And now here goes Lucas with DRS, and Savage gonna follow suit as well, straight through. And Just As they're losing 2 spots on 1 DRS straight, and he is now down to 7th place. And the question is, how much more time is he going to lose? Is he going to lose time to Colin behind? Will Colin be able to get 7th place, or will Just As be able to hold on with that wing damage? Time will tell, as little Romanino out in front doing a fantastic job. Maxwell is closing in though. Maxwell is closing in. He's got the gap down a slight margin, but absolute calamities here. A mistake-filled race, I would say. You have Plix in the first instant. It wasn't his fault. He just got caught up in the carnage, as he did lose his front wing, and unfortunately for Plix, he lost it a second time, leading him to being over a minute behind the car ahead. We saw Pina make a massive mistake on his pit entry, run straight into the back of Colin, picking up a drive-through penalty. And then when he came into the pits, he got a 5-second speeding penalty and retired from the session. And of course we saw the incident between Just As and Tomato not too long ago. Just As trying to switch suddenly to the inside whilst behind Tomato, gets it all wrong, runs into the back of the Welshman, and both of them absolutely hindered you, as Tomato is setting the fastest lap of the race, and Just As with that wing damage, he is getting caught by Colin, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think. And the gaps are now opened up all over the place, as... oh no, Hookie's retired from the session. On the exit of the hairpin, looks like he's just got the traction all wrong there. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's in the wall. Oh, that's heartbreaking for Hookie. As we're on board with little Romanino, he comes across the line. He will pick up the win for the Welsh team. Max Rowe in second for France, and Ash Best, he does make those tyres last, and he comes home to round at the podium for the rest of the world. As Lucas jumps ahead of Alp on penalties. Savage in 6th, Just As in 7th. Then in 8th we have Colin R. Mason, and 9th will go to Tomato. He's going to be furious. He'll know that he had a lot more points out there than what he has achieved here. And Plix, who doesn't unlap himself from Hookie, so comes across the line in 11th place. So this will be some quick mathematics once again. I like to keep everyone updated on who is where in terms of going through to the next round. It is little Romanino with the win though for the Welsh lads. it is the rest of the world who get that final spot on the podium, and of course the Frenchman there of Maxwell getting second place. So we'll go for it one more time. It is Little Romanino, our race winner, ahead of Maxwell in second, Ashbest in third, Lucas Guest fourth for the Polish team. Fifth will go to Alp, and then sixth we'll have Savage, just as after the collision with Tomato comes home in seventh place. Colin R. Mason in eighth, Tomato in ninth, and DNF on the final lap for Hooky does get classified in P10, and Plix a lap down, unfortunately unable to lap himself from Hooky, comes home in P11, and Pina, our non-finisher who wasn't classified, and I have just been told I need to get the calculator out, and yes, I will get the calculator out. I will get the calculator out here in 2 seconds. But now we have Hungary to go to, so we will see as 8th and 9th, so 14 plus. I have a question for any of the QVR admins in the chat. Does Hooky being classified, does he still get 10th place? I am not sure. But if he does get classified, it's 67 points for Wales. If he doesn't get classified, it's 56 for the Welsh team. And of course for France, second place and 11th, so that is 36 points for the French team. For the rest of the world is P3, P5 and P7, so it's 24 plus 20 plus 16, so at the moment the rest of the world currently in the lead as it stands, if Hooky's P10 does not count. And of course we got Poland with 4th and 6th, which is 22 plus 18, which is 40. So it is 56 points for Wales if Hooky's P10 does not count. It is a little bit of controversy, but at the moment, if Hooky's P10 does not count, it is the rest of the world currently in the lead, with Wales in second place. And it is the Polish team ahead of the French team. Remember, 3rd and 4th does not get through to the next stage. They will be eliminated. You need 2nd to get to the best of the rest final, and 1st to get into the champions final. And here we go. We are underway in qualifying once again, and Joe, we're going to go on board with Pina as he runs down into turn 1. Of course, Pina DNFing after a horrible pit entry, running into the back of Colin R. Mason and picking up a drive through. Then speeding in the pits, he retires again, and as we go up the hill, it is Pina who is currently out in the out in the lead right now. He is on the march for pole position as we go into the chicane of 6 and 7, and now into the heart of the middle sector through 8, 9, as we got the left hand kink of 10 getting onto the curb and through 11. Second sector split, he is purple once again as we run down into turn 12. Just 2 more corners to go into 13, keeping it tight to the apex, and now into turn 14. All about the exit here as Maxwell has jumped in for that provisional pole position. It is Maxwell who will put it on pole position ahead of Pina, and a lot of disqualifications here coming in, but Pina for the Polish team trying to make amends for the first race. Yes, second place. So it is Maxwell on pole position for the French team ahead of Pina for Poland in second place, Alp in third for the rest of the world, and then of course we got Plix for the other French team, the other French driver for France in fourth place, Ash Best for the rest of the world in fifth, Little Romanino in sixth for the Welsh team. Then of course we got Poland's Savage in 7th, Colin R. Mason in 8th for Wales, 9th on the mediums there for Just As, and 10th for Hooky, and then Lucas in 11th for Poland, and our only person to get disqualified is Tomato, and at this track it is difficult to overtake, and we'll have to see how he gets on. Of course, Tomato, he was looking on point for a 1-2 Welsh finish with Little Romanino in Bahrain, but unfortunately collision with him and Just As took both of those two out of the chance of taking the race win. But we'll see if they can make amends here to, well, in the second race. So, as I was saying, if Hooky's points aren't awarded to him, I mean, he was classified, but he did crash out. If Hooky's points aren't awarded to him, the rest of the world are in the lead. But if Hooky's points are awarded to him, because he was classified, then Wales will be taking the lead going into this race. So it is on the teetering edge here. And we look at the tyre compound, so outside of the top 10, Lucas and Tomato both going for the medium compound tyres, as has Just As. So hopefully Just As and Tomato don't run into each other for a second race in a row. They'll be on the alternative strategy. Maxwell, Pina, Alp, Plix, Ashbest, Little Romanino, Savage, Colin R. Mason and Hooky on the soft compound tyres, looking to do the best job that they can. "18 laps of the Hungarian await these 12 drivers. 4.3 kilometer lap distance. Who is going to come out on top here? Will it be the rest of the world? Will it be Wales? Will it be Poland? Will it be France? Who will get through to the Champions Final? Who will get through to the Best of the Rest Final? And who will be the two who will be eliminated? As we wait for Tomato to take his grid position, and we wait for those 5 red lights, and here they come. 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights are out and we are underway, and Maxwell gets a fantastic start as little Romanino there jumping up into, I believe that is P3 at the moment. He is on the inside. Is he going to have a look at Alp? No, he's going to stick behind the rest of the world driver for the time being. As a bit of a collision there between Lucas and Just As, I believe. And Tomato already ahead of his two medium running competitions. Oh, he gets onto the inside curb and he just about holds it there. Tomato there getting very close to the inside curb of turn 5, and that is a lethal curb. It will spin you out if you touch it. So the best thing that you can do is really stay clear of it. As the top 3, it is Maxro in the race lead ahead of Alp in 2nd place and little Romanino in 3rd. And we got Plix for France in 4th, Savage for Poland in 5th, and Pina's had an absolute shocking start. He's dropped all the way down to 8th. Does he have wing damage by any chance? No, he doesn't appear to have wing damage. Very difficult to go through and see where the battles are. As Lucas and Just As into the pits immediately at the end of lap 1. Both chucking on the hard compound tyres. I think they may have had damage with each other. I'm not sure. As Pina trying to put the pressure on Colin R. Mason for P7. Poland versus Wales. Right here for 7th place. Penalties are going to be crucial. Keep them to a minimum. As up ahead we see a bit of a train forming behind little Romanino. As he has just dipped out of DRS range of the top 2. And he may be coming under pressure soon. As here goes Pina around the outside of Colin R. Mason, trying to look for a switchback, unable to get it done though. And Tomato over the rear wing. And Colin, oh no! Colin there locking up and going into Pina. And that is, I don't know, I kind of feel Colin needs to, I kind of feel Colin might have to let him through for that one. Big old lock up for Colin R. Mason, sends him straight into Pina. And that is, I don't know, for me, I'd let Pina through. I wouldn't fight him. And Hooky picking up the first 3-second time penalty of the evening. Well, I say first 3-second time penalty of this particular race, as there goes Pina there through on Colin. As we got Plix and Alp into the pits at the end of lap 3. What tyres they're going on to is the mediums for Alp and the mediums for Plix. So we're starting to see the first grouping of pit stops now begin to happen, and we'll have to see how everything unfolds. Maxro 2.2 seconds ahead of little Romanino. Savage just about holding in DRS range, and he's going to need it. He has to defend from Ash Best. Meanwhile, Just As and Lucas having a nice bit. Oh, as we just go on board with Lucas there. Wheelspinmeup.com as he almost loses traction of the car completely, and into the wall he would have gone, but fortunately for Lucas, able to save it there. As Colin doing his best to try and keep up with Pina as we got Maxwell into the pits, Little Romanino into the pits, Savage into the pits, and Ash Best into the pits, and that will release Tomato on as Hookie's also dove into the pits as well. So the only cars left to make a pit stop is Tomato, who is going long on this first stint, Pina in second place, and Colin R. Mason there in third, as the pit lane getting very tasty as Pelixi making the undercut work and getting out just ahead of Little Roma Nino. So Pelixi up into a net P3 ahead of Little Romanino, and for France this is crucial. Meanwhile, up ahead, let's have a look at the gap to the leader. Tomato 13 seconds ahead of Alp, with a pit stop still to come, as I believe we'll have second and third now into the pits at the end of this lap, surely. And yep, here they go, both of them into the pit lane. And now we'll see the gap between Alp and Tomato, as Maxwell is really trying to put Alp under pressure, and this is crucial, because if Maxwell puts Alp under pressure here and they start battling, this is going to be fantastic for Tomato's chances of being able to come back at these guys at the end of the race when he's on the soft compound tyre. Oh, getting onto the curb there for Alp as he tries to get the run up the hill, and Pina's left the session again. Oh no, Pina with connection issues once again, and he lags out of the session. And that's unfortunate, because that will allow Colin to get through. It may even allow Hookie to get through. And not too far behind, there's Just As and Lucas, who is a little bit further behind. But here we go, Alp and Maxwell once again doing battle. Maxwell there with an X on his name, as Maxwell left the session. As Maxwell disconnected. Oh nope, he's lagged up the road. So Maxwell here with connection issues. As you see, he is bouncing around. He is bouncing around like a kangaroo from Australia. But he is still the man in second place. And Pina has rejoined the session, and that is good for the man from Poland. He has been able to rejoin the session, unfortunately. Oh, Lucas has left the session. Lucas retired. So Lucas into the pits, retiring from the session, and that has seriously hindered Poland's chances here. Poland may be out of this competition, as Hookie picks up a 3-second time penalty once again. As we tried to figure out what the gap is, then there we go, is 11.9 seconds, the gap between Maxwell and Tomato. Tomato, of course, is going long on those mediums. He will come back at the end on fresh softs. So we'll have to see how he's able to get through the field. But yeah, Codemasters there really isn't great to see, as Plix still holding on to P4 ahead of Little Romanino. And Little Romanino now picking up a 3-second time penalty. That is crucial for the likes of Ash Best and for Savage, who are within that 3-second window. of Little Romanino. As it stands, a Savage here getting a little bit wayward. Little Romanino is going to need to get past Plix ASAP so he can try and build the gap, as Tomato continuing around for another lap. Not sure what lap Tomato will be into the pits, but he's going to want to make the most as Peanut's left the session once again. Little Romanino running wide there on the exit, but has he got enough to go for a move on Plix? Plix moving somewhat to cover the middle ground. But Little Romanino, is he going to be close enough to have a little look down the inside? Plix leaves him half a car's width there, just in case he does go for the move, but Little Romanino sticks behind, and surely not up the hill, not up the hill. Little Romanino on the inside, oh no, Little Romanino around, quick reset to the track, and he loses out to Savage and Ash Best there. That is never going to work. 2 cars into that corner just does not work at all. And Little Romanino goes on battling for the final spot on the podium, down to a net P7. Just as they're getting through on the ghosted car of Pina, who is disconnected once again. Hooky seems to be struggling here with this track, as he has Just As directly behind him now. As Maxwell still being kept honest here by Alb. But there's a nice decent gap behind to Plix in 4th place, who has an almost 2-second gap to Savage and Ash Best. Little Romanino not too far behind as there goes Just As through on Hooky and up into 9th place there for the man from the rest of the world. Just trying to think, once Tomato makes his pit stop, where would he come out to? I believe the pit lane is around an 18 second loss altogether. So he'd be around Ash Best and Little Romanino. Well, we won't have to wait long to find out. Tomato is into the pits. Gets the car slowed down. Maxwell will take the lead of the race, but where is Tomato going to come out to? He's into the pit lane. He's in his box. He's got the soft tyres on. He's going to come out just behind Little Romanino. Yes, he is. And Little Romanino moving immediately out of the way of his fellow Welshman there, knowing that Tomato has the best chance of getting some good points here. And now this is what we are going to be tuned in to see. Tomato on the soft tyres going to be pushing very hard. He's got 8.5 seconds and he's lost a lot of time there by touching the inside curve, but we did mention it earlier. You don't want to be hitting that inside curve, and he's just unsettled him as Colin picks up his first time penalty of this afternoon, or this evening I should say. But Maxwell and Plix doing the best job they can for the French team. Savage in 4th. It is unfortunate Lucas out of this race and Pina lagging out of the session, meaning that Poland's chances of going through are incredibly slim, as he is the only Polish runner still going. It is the rest of the world versus France versus Wales right now. Tomato on those soft tyres. Every position he makes can be crucial in making sure that Wales can keep in this and get themselves into the next round. into the either the best of the rest or the champions final. As you see, a purple first sector there for Tomato, as he is all over the back now of Ash Best and avoiding the inside curb there, and rightfully so. But he gets a big tank slapper in the chicane, and Little Romanino picks up a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, I believe that's his second one now. Yes, it is. Oh no, Tomato gets onto the curb and loses it. Pushes too far. Pushes too hard. And he is around. Oh, it is all gone horribly wrong here for the Welsh lads. Now, I'm not sure what this does. I believe the rest of the world, they are looking in prime position to take the route back to the champions final. As it currently stands, of course, with the Welsh team pretty much imploding here at Hungary. But of course there will be a, I believe there definitely will be a Stewards inquiry for the collision between Tomato and Just As, and it looks like Tomato is off again. And Just As goes through and up into 8th place, and yep, there we go, the front wing damage here on Tomato's car, and Savage picking up a 3-second time penalty. And that's just even better for the rest of the world here, because now Ash Best, all he's got to do is just sit in behind. As Alp now beginning to put the pressure on, trying his best to get the race victory away from Maxro, away from the French duo. As Tomato in the pits, that allows Pina's AI ghosted car to overtake him. Actually, is he back in his car? No, he's not. He's still a ghost. Yeah, Alp all over the back of Maxro, and this move could be crucial as well. As, oh no, is that Hooky around? Yep, it is. Hooky's around. The Welsh team imploding here at Hungary. As Tomato picks up himself up a 3-second time penalty as well. So everyone from the Welsh team has picked up a 3-second time penalty here. It has not gone well for the Welsh team in this second race. The first race was so promising, and it was looking all so good. Little Romanino tried to move on the inside of Plix, that it just was never going to work, and Tomato pushing, and he overstepped the limits just a little bit too much, and he ends up spinning the car, going around for a trip. And loses any hope of a big result here. But all hope is not lost, as we have Plix under pressure from Savage and Ash Best, as Alp is pressuring Maxro for the race lead. The question is now, who is going to go through? Will it be France? Will it be Wales? Will it be the rest of the world? Oh, was out there really almost losing the car. And he begins to push the boundaries. Savage here, little snap in the background. As I believe that's Hooky off again. Hooky, keep going, lad. Keep going. Every point matters. No, Hooky retires from the race. As Tomato picks up the fastest lap. Hooky retiring from the race, and I think that may be just the final nail in the coffin there as Hooky retires. And now Maxwell under pressure from Alp. DRS, ERS tries to go to the inside. Oh, it's very close stuff between these two. Maxwell going to try and hang it around the outside. Gets it done. Alp has a second bite of the cherry though. With DRS, he's not going to try anything into turn 2. He's going to stick behind. Meanwhile, Plix holding off Savage and Ash Best for the moment. Just as now within that 3-second window of Collins' penalty. As Alp getting through on Maxwell there. Alp now up into the race lead. In fact, he last Maxwell back through. So maybe an issue with overtaking off the track, as we've just been informed that Collins' ERS somehow is not recharging. I'm going to go on board with this. No, it says it's recharging. There goes Alp back on the inside of Maxwell. And we're on the final lap of the race. Is France in first and in third. The rest of the world, I think, are looking pretty decent here. Poland, I think, it's all over from, but it's going to be tantalisingly close between Wales and France, to my knowledge. Of course, actually, now we have an admin in the chat, I can ask the question that I was asking at the end of the last race. Hooky DNF but was classified at the end of the race. Does he still get points for that? As Maxwell there crosses the line, Alp will get a second. Plix will come home in third, and Ash Best will be promoted up to fourth due to Savage's penalty. Savage in fifth. Little Romanino will come home in sixth. Colin will cross the line in seventh, but just as will jump ahead of him in seventh, and Colin will be eighth. Pina's AI has been driving around this whole race, so I don't think he'll be counted as any points for the AI car, as Tomato was gone for a spin once again. But I believe Tomato will be crossing the line. He'll be crossing the line in 10th, but I believe he'll get P9 due to the AI of Pina there coming through. So once again we get the calculator out. Get the calculator out, and it was 36 points for France at the end of the first race, if I remember correctly. Yeah, with Plix having that early carnage, and they will get 30 points for the win. plus 24 points for second place, which means that they end this this race on 90 points. So 90 points for France. Poland, unfortunately, they managed to get 40 points in the first race, and with only one of their drivers still in the session, Poland unfortunately will be heading out of this, as we have Max Rodet celebrating on the top step of the podium. It is a 1-3 for the French team here in Hungary. And the rest of the world, they're also on the podium. So, yep, Savage in 5th place. They were on 40 points and they pick up an extra 20. So, Poland end the session on 60 points, 30 points behind France. So, it is unfortunate for the Polish team. For the rest of the world, second place. So, that is 26 points there for the rest of the world. 4th place and a 7th place. So, plus 22 plus 16. 64 points here for the rest of the world. I believe that puts them over 100. So rest of the world are 100% going through to the next round, into the champions final, unless a penalty comes up in which they lose points due to it. So we'll have to wait and see with that one. 6th place for Nino, so that's 18 points plus believe 8. Yep, 8th points, 8th place for Colin, so that's 14 plus I believe that because Pina is AI is out, I believe Tomato does get P9 because it was the AI that crossed the line. So P9 would be plus 12, so that'd be 44, I believe, on top of the 50 odd points that Wales got in the first race. That will just about get Wales through to the best of the rest final. However, if Hockey's points from the first race did count, and if rest of the world do get a sizable penalty for the collision between Tomato and Just As in Bahrain, we may be seeing a shuffle. We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it'll affect the rest of the world going into the final in the champions race. We don't know. But to my maths at the moment, it is the rest of the world going through to the champions final, Wales going through to the best of the rest final, and France and Poland unfortunately missing out. But massive thanks to all the nations that have competed so far. You've all done fantastic, and yeah, don't be disheartened if you have been eliminated. You've put on a fantastic show for us for the past 3 weeks, and we appreciate it. And of course, next week we have the 2 finals, and of course we also got 2 more races to come here tonight, so make sure you guys jump on over to those next 2 races, and we'll see you next week for the final here in the League Racing Nations Cup for the Champions Final and the Best of the Rest final. Until then, guys, hope you have a great day.